You stand there, at the edge of something vast and unknown. The darkness seems to whisper to you, pulling at the edges of your mind, its weight almost suffocating. You've felt it before, that dread, the deep, bone-chilling fear that keeps you up at night, that shakes your confidence, clouds your decisions, and chains you to a version of yourself you despise. This fear isn't just a feeling, it's a presence, a shadow, and no matter how many times you try to run from it, it keeps finding its way back. But here's the truth. This fear, this relentless force, is not here to destroy you. It's here to teach you. It's here to push you. And if you don't learn how to embrace it, how to wield it, you will stay forever shackled by it. It will control you. Your dreams will slip through your fingers like sand. Your potential will remain untapped, and you'll live a life bound by the whims of that fear. But imagine, just imagine, what would happen if you could turn that fear into your greatest weapon? What if you could not only face it, but use it to fuel your strength, sharpen your resolve, and lead you to heights you never thought possible? What if you could transform the very force that holds you back into the fire that propels you forward? In this video, I'm going to show you how to do exactly that. I'm going to walk you through 7 steps to turn your deepest fears into the strength you've been searching for. This isn't some self-help fluff. No, this is dark psychology. These are forbidden truths that only a few people have the guts to face. This is about domination. It's about resilience. It's about you rising above what holds you back and becoming untouchable. But understand this, the stakes are high. If you don't master these steps, you'll continue to live in the grip of your fears, suffocating under their weight, forever wondering what if. Your potential will remain a distant dream. You will never rise to the person you know you are capable of being. The first step to mastering your fear is realizing that it's not an enemy. It's a teacher. It's an initiator into something greater than yourself. Do you remember the first time you ever felt fear in its rawest form? Maybe it was as a child, lying awake in the dark, hearing every creak and crack of the house, imagining monsters lurking just beyond the threshold. Or perhaps it was in your adult life, standing in front of a crowd, your hands trembling, your heart racing, knowing that if you failed in this moment, it would all be over. That terrifying, suffocating feeling. The kind of fear that makes you feel small, insignificant, and powerless. Here's the thing most people don't understand about fear. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of growth. Think about it. Fear comes up when you're about to do something new, something outside your comfort zone. When you're about to level up, when you're about to face something that could change the entire course of your life, that's when fear appears. It's a signal that you're on the verge of something massive. You can either run from it, or you can step into it. You can let it paralyze you, or you can let it propel you forward. The choice is yours. This is the first key. Stop avoiding fear. Instead, seek it out. Understand it. Learn what it has to teach you. Your fear is the map to your growth. The more you fear something, the more it means there's something there for you to conquer. The more fear you experience, the higher the reward. So stop shrinking from it. Welcome it. Let me show you a real-world example. Think of someone like Steve Jobs. Jobs didn't run from fear. He faced it head-on time and time again. He had the vision to revolutionize industries, but with that came incredible risk. And with risk came fear. Fear of failure, fear of being ridiculed, fear of losing everything. But he understood that the very thing he feared was the gateway to his greatness. Each time he faced down fear, he came out the other side stronger, bolder, and more successful. You don't have to be Steve Jobs to face your fears and win. You don't need to be a billionaire to step into the unknown. You simply need to embrace the discomfort, the terror, and keep moving forward anyway. Fear will never disappear, but that doesn't mean you have to let it control you. Now, I'm going to show you the second step, and trust me, this one will shake you to your core. You need to understand that your fear is a reflection of your potential. Fear is not just some random emotion that comes and goes. It's a direct mirror of what you're capable of achieving. If you're afraid of something, it's because that thing is important to you. You fear it because it matters, and that's exactly why you need to pursue it. Let me tell you a story about one of the most ruthless, ambitious individuals in history, Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon didn't rise to power by avoiding fear. In fact, he was terrified at many points in his life. When he first started out as a young officer in the French army, his enemies were powerful and the stakes were high. But rather than running from those fears, he used them. Every battle, every confrontation, every moment of doubt became a stepping stone toward his destiny. Napoleon understood that fear was not a sign of weakness. It was a sign of strength. If he feared his enemies, it meant they posed a real threat. And that threat pushed him to become smarter, more strategic, and more ruthless. He didn't let fear paralyze him. He used it to sharpen his skills, to outthink his enemies, to become a master of warfare. He understood that if he could master his fear, he could control his future. You are no different. Your fears are the same as his. They are reflections of your potential, your ability to rise higher, to achieve greatness. It's time to stop pretending that fear is something to run from. It's time to embrace it, to see it as the reflection of who you are meant to become. And in that moment, when you truly understand this truth, you will unlock the first key to transforming your fear into your greatest strength. But we're just getting started. What comes next will reveal how you can harness that fear, not just for growth, but for domination. Are you ready to continue this journey? Because the path to your true power is about to begin. As you stand there with the weight of your fear on your shoulders, something starts to shift inside of you. It's as if the very air around you begins to crackle with intensity. You've faced your fear, and you've begun to see it not as an obstacle, but as an ally. But the question now becomes, how do you harness that fear? How do you turn it from a silent force of destruction into a roaring engine of power? This, my friend, is where most people falter. They get comfortable. They think that simply recognizing their fear and understanding its origins is enough. But I'm telling you right now, that's just the beginning. Fear is not passive. It does not wait around for you to master it. It waits for you to make the wrong move, to hesitate for just a second so it can seize control. You must take action. You must force fear into submission. Now, this next step will challenge you to your very core. It's about transforming fear into fuel. You see, fear is an energy. It's a raw, untapped force that can either destroy you or empower you. But it doesn't just sit there quietly. Fear always demands an outlet. And if you fail to direct it, it will run wild, tearing apart your confidence, your resolve, and your dreams. The secret to turning fear into fuel lies in your response. When fear strikes, most people freeze. They retreat. They shrink back, thinking that safety will protect them. But you must learn to move into the fear head-on, eyes wide open, embracing it with every ounce of your being. Do this, and you will watch that fear become an unstoppable force that pushes you further than you ever thought possible. Think of someone like the legendary Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was not born with the physical stature or the raw talent to dominate the bodybuilding world. He was an immigrant with broken English, fighting his way through a new country. But what he had was a burning desire, a relentless drive, and an understanding that fear, the fear of failure, of not being enough, could either hold him back or fuel his ascent. He channeled that fear into every rep, every training session, and every obstacle that came his way. Each time he stepped onto the stage, he wasn't just showcasing his muscles. He was showcasing the transformation of fear into power. Arnold didn't let fear dictate his actions. He let fear ignite his actions. That's the difference between failure and mastery. But it's not just about physical transformation. Fear also manifests in the psychological realm. Think about moments when you've been presented with a challenge, a major career decision, a crucial conversation, a life-altering opportunity. Fear starts to creep in, tells you that you're not ready, that you're not worthy. But if you listen closely, you'll hear another voice beneath it. It's a quieter voice, one that speaks through your gut. It's the voice of your true self, the one that knows what you're capable of, the one that wants to rise, to thrive, and to conquer. That voice can't speak over the noise of fear unless you choose to listen. You must make the conscious decision to use that fear to push yourself into action. Take a moment and look at someone like Jeff Bezos. You may know him now as the founder of Amazon, but let me take you back to the early days when Amazon was just a small, struggling startup. The fear of failure was omnipresent. The odds were stacked against him. Yet, every time fear whispered in his ear, he leaned into it. He transformed it into an obsession with learning, adapting, and executing. Bezos understood that fear was the indicator that he was pushing the boundaries of what was possible, and he used it as fuel to push forward, building one of the most powerful empires the world has ever seen. But here's the thing, fear will always try to pull you back. It will whisper to you, "This is too much. You can't handle this. It's too dangerous." And that's exactly when you need to dig deeper. When fear tells you to stop, you double down. When it tells you that you've reached your limit, you push past it. You show fear who's in control. But let me tell you something important. As you begin to harness fear as fuel, you'll notice a shift. You'll start to feel a sense of exhilaration. Fear will no longer be a threat to you. It will become a signal that you're alive, that you're growing, that you're heading straight for the peak of your potential. And yet, there's still one more step to take. Because as powerful as fear can be when you wield it, there is a darker force at play. One that, if left unchecked, will strip you of your strength. It's the fear of what others think of you. This, my friend, is a silent killer. It creeps into your psyche, planting seeds of doubt, convincing you that you must appease others in order to survive. But let me make something crystal clear. If you are driven by the approval of others, you are already dead. The moment you start making decisions based on the opinions of others, you've already lost the war. The path to true mastery is not paved by the judgment of the crowd. It's paved by your unwavering conviction in your own power. Think back to someone like Winston Churchill, a man who stood alone against the tides of war, while others doubted him, feared him, or rejected him. But Churchill understood that fear of others' opinions was just another chain. And as he rose to power, he threw that chain aside, choosing instead to listen to his own voice. The strength he possessed came from within, not from the approval of the masses. Now, as you stand on the precipice of your own transformation, understand this. The true power lies not in the absence of fear, but in your ability to stand tall in the face of it, to absorb it, and to use it as a tool for your rise. Fear will no longer be a paralyzing force in your life. It will become the fire that shapes you, the strength that drives you, the fuel that propels you toward your destiny. Now you know the first two steps, but what you have learned so far is just a fraction of what it will take to truly dominate your fear and turn it into power. You are stepping into something much bigger now. The true transformation lies just beyond the horizon, where the remaining steps will take you into a realm where your fears no longer have any hold over you. You can feel it now, can't you? The shift is happening inside of you. Fear no longer controls you. It no longer paralyzes you. You've learned how to face it head-on, to channel it, to make it fuel your ascent. But here's the truth that most people will never understand. Even the strongest, most dominant forces can be undone if you don't fully own that power. It's not enough to just control your fear. You must also master how to live with it, how to integrate it into your life, and how to use it not just as a tool but as a lifestyle. This is where most people go wrong. They learn to use fear once, maybe twice, but they fail to make it part of their daily existence. And as soon as fear is left unchecked, it begins to creep back into the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. Now that you've learned how to move into fear, how to channel it into something constructive, the next step is about understanding this. Fear is not just an event. It's a process. Mastering your fear isn't a single moment of victory. It's a series of calculated, deliberate actions that you must repeat every single day. And it's this repetition, this commitment to living with fear and using it every day, that separates the successful from the weak. Take a look at someone like Elon Musk. He is a master of fear. But here's the thing most people miss. Musk doesn't just use fear when he's launching a rocket or building an empire. He uses it every single day. Every moment he wakes up, he faces the fear of failure, of losing everything, of looking foolish. And rather than retreating, he builds on it. He keeps moving forward with relentless, almost obsessive focus. Musk's ability to live with fear, to use it to fuel his constant drive, has made him one of the most dominant forces of the modern era. And you need to adopt that same mentality. You have to take that fear, the one that would normally cripple you, and make it a part of your routine, your rituals, your mindset. You wake up every morning, and you don't just confront your fears, you relish them. You acknowledge them as a sign of growth. You keep them close, but you control them. And most importantly, you make sure that they do not control you. The truth is that the more you face your fear, the more it begins to lose its grip on you. It starts to feel like an old companion, a trusted ally that's been with you every step of the way. Fear becomes like the shadow that follows you, always there, but never in control. And with that, you start to realize something. Fear is not the problem. The problem is the lack of fear. The problem is living in comfort, in safety. The real danger is the absence of fear. Now, let me show you something even darker, something that will change the way you approach fear forever. You see, there's another step in this process, one that few people are brave enough to face. You have to learn to love your fear. This sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? How could anyone love something so debilitating, so terrifying? But here's the truth. The moment you stop fearing your fear, the moment you stop seeing it as an enemy, is the moment you become untouchable. The fear you once tried to avoid, the fear that once paralyzed you, becomes something you embrace, not as a weakness, but as a strength. When you can look at your fear and say, I welcome you, I see you for what you are, and you have no power over me, that's when you will finally be free. Think of someone like Bruce Lee. Lee didn't just face his fears, he learned to love the challenge of them. He thrived on discomfort. He was obsessed with improving, with pushing beyond his own limitations. The fear he experienced in the ring wasn't something he avoided. It was something he lived with, something that drove him to innovate, to create his own unique martial arts philosophy. He turned the very idea of fear into his strongest ally. Lee didn't just train his body. He trained his mind to embrace fear as a part of life, and because of that, he became one of the most powerful forces in the martial arts world. But let's take this even further. The greatest shift happens when you stop letting fear define your limits. It no longer becomes a question of, can I do this? Or am I capable? The question shifts to, how far am I willing to go? Fear stops being the boundary that holds you back, and instead, it becomes the tool that shows you where the edge lies. And it's only by pushing past that edge that you will find what you're truly capable of. Now, there's one final transformation that you must embrace. When you master fear, you no longer see the world as a place where dangers lurk. You see it as a battlefield, one that you control. Fear becomes the landscape you navigate with precision. You no longer stumble in the dark. You walk in the light, knowing exactly where to step. Let me tell you what this looks like in action. Imagine you've reached the summit of your career, or your business, or your personal journey. Everything you've ever dreamed of is within your grasp. But the challenges are still immense. The pressure is even greater. You look around, and you see others faltering, others succumbing to the same fears that once held you back. But you stand tall. You've already faced the most dangerous enemy, yourself. And because of that, no one can touch you. Look at someone like Alexander the Great, who, despite the odds, was able to conquer the known world. He didn't just face fear on the battlefield. He faced it in his mind every single day. But he learned to control it, to use it to make the most calculated decisions, to rise above the chaos. And in doing so, he became one of the most formidable figures in history. So, as you continue down this path, understand this. The person who can live with fear and use it as their guide is unstoppable. Fear is no longer the force that holds you back. It becomes the force that propels you to unimaginable heights. You are no longer at war with yourself. You are the strategist. You are the master of your destiny. You've transformed. And now you must continue to grow. You've faced the darkness. You've emerged from it stronger, wiser, and more capable. The transformation is real. And now you stand at the threshold of greatness. The next steps are yours to claim. But remember, it's not about being fearless. It's about mastering fear. And in that mastery, you will find the power to rise, to lead, and to conquer. The journey doesn't end here. You've unlocked something powerful, but now the real work begins. Fear is your ally. Now it's time to make it your weapon. And when you do, there's nothing that can stop you. Are you ready to continue your rise? Because the final step will unleash everything you've been waiting for. And here we are, at the precipice. You've faced the darkest corners of your psyche, grappled with the beast that once held you in chains, and now you stand on the edge of something greater than you've ever known. The fear that once owned you, that defined your limits, has been transmuted into the very power that fuels your rise. But let me ask you this, what now? The transformation you've undergone, the mastery of your fear, has set you on a path of limitless potential. But here's the truth that most will never grasp. The real test is not in conquering your fear, but in how you live with your power once you've mastered it. You've crossed the line. You've learned how to live in the fire, how to walk with the shadows of your fears without letting them control you. But now you must become more than just a survivor. You must become a strategist, a mastermind, someone who controls their own destiny, who crafts their life with the precision of a chess grandmaster. You're no longer the prey. You are now the strategist. So what does this look like? Imagine yourself walking into any room, knowing that you carry with you the strength of 100 warriors. No one can touch you, not because you're invincible, but because you've embraced your vulnerabilities. You've taken your greatest fears and transformed them into weapons. You walk into that room with a quiet confidence, knowing that no challenge can stop you. Because, in truth, the only real challenge was never the external forces around you. It was the internal battle you had to win. And you've won it. Now, you have the power to shape reality to your will. Think of the business moguls you admire, people like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, or even the great tacticians throughout history. These men and women didn't become giants because they avoided fear. They became giants because they knew how to face their fear, make it work for them, and keep moving forward no matter how impossible the journey seemed. And so will you. But here's where the magic happens. The moment you begin to live without fear dictating your choices, you unlock a world of possibilities. Every decision you make is grounded in your new understanding of yourself. You are no longer beholden to the whims of doubt or the opinions of others. You are unshakable. And that is the true power. The power to walk through life with a level of dominance that others will never understand. The power to remain centered in the face of chaos, to rise above the noise, to command respect, and to move through the world with the kind of quiet authority that comes from having nothing left to fear. This is what it means to live a life of mastery. And this is the only path for those who choose to truly dominate, to conquer, to rise beyond the ordinary and into the realm of the extraordinary. But let me leave you with this: you've done the work. You've faced the darkest parts of your own mind. You've turned your fears into fuel. You've pushed past your limits. You've harnessed the power of uncertainty. And now the only thing left to do is take that next step, to live in the power that you've unlocked. The world will never be the same once you've done this. But don't just take my word for it. Walk into your life with everything you now know and make it your own. You have the power to rewrite your story, to transform the way you experience fear, and to dominate everything in your path. So, here's my final challenge to you. Embrace the fear. Don't run from it. Don't shy away from it. Recognize it for what it is, a sign of your greatness, a signal that you are pushing the boundaries of your potential. And when you face that fear head-on, you will step into your true power, the kind of power that cannot be stopped. the kind of power that only comes from knowing your deepest fears and using them to shape the life you were born to live. You have the strength. You have the resilience. You have the mastery. Now, go claim what is yours. And remember, fear is no longer your enemy. It is your ally. Now use it to conquer everything in your path. If you're ready to take this journey to the next level, I want you to comment below, like this video, and subscribe. Join the movement of those who are not afraid to face their darkness and use it to rise. There's more to discover. There's more to achieve. And it all starts with you. Stay strong. Stay powerful. And above all else, stay relentless. The world is yours.